It's been nearly 4 decades since the First Intifada, the 6-year popular uprising where more than 1,000 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces. That's roughly the same number of Palestinians reportedly killed in the occupied West Bank in just 2 years since October 2023.
On Palestinian land, and they will not leave.
But how did the First Intifada break out? On the 8th of December in 1987, almost 38 years ago, an Israeli military truck collided with cars in Gaza's Jabalia refugee camp, killing 4 Palestinians. This would trigger a series of protests across Gaza and in the West Bank against Israel's then 20-year military occupation. Images of young stone-throwing Palestinians against armed Israeli soldiers grabbed international media attention, and the Intifada would then become a global symbol of protest. At the time, illegal settlements and military outposts had been spreading across the West Bank and Gaza after Israel illegally occupied the territories after the 1967 war. So frustrations were growing by the day, and then finally erupted after the deadly military truck collision. Palestinians saw it as a deliberate attack, sparking outrage, and what followed was a widespread uprising. Then Defense Minister Yitzhak Rabin infamously ordered Israeli soldiers to break the arms and legs of Palestinian protesters. Over the 6 years, more than 1,000 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces, including over 240 children, according to B'Tselem. Fewer than 50 Israeli civilians were killed. The Intifada ultimately contributed to the 1993 Oslo Accords, which created the Palestinian Authority. The agreements effectively gave Israel control of 60% of the West Bank and much of the territory's land and water resources. Some hailed it a landmark agreement, though Palestinian intellectuals like Edward Said argued it reflected a painful compromise for Palestinians. And for him, the whole process jeopardized the core interests of his people.
The Oslo Accords say specifically that Israel bears no responsibility for the costs of the occupation. This after 20 years, 26 years of military occupation, no responsibility. That's simply unacceptable, even for the Jewish people who have suffered so much. It's unacceptable. You cannot continue to victimize somebody else just because you yourself were a victim once. There has to be a limit.
Now here we are, fast forward 30 years from the Oslo Accords, and the UN is once again condemning the brazen killings and settler violence in the West Bank.
We're appalled by the brazen killing by Israeli border police yesterday of 2 Palestinian men in Jenin in the occupied West Bank.
Israeli settlers and security forces have intensified killings, attacks and harassment of Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, in the past weeks.
There has been a constant progress of the measures of the Israeli government in order to have a creeping annexation in the West Bank.
Ever-growing Israeli settler violence must end.
Yet despite these repeated warnings over the years, communities continue to face raids, home demolitions and daily attacks, suggesting that little has changed since 1987. When the Oslo Accords were signed, just over 110,000 Jewish settlers lived in the West Bank. But today, the figure is more than 700,000, living on more than 100,000 hectares of land, expropriated from the Palestinians. In at least 21 cases over the past 2 years, B'Tselem says settlers who killed Palestinians were not held accountable. Cars targeted with children inside, mosques set on fire, men executed after surrendering. These incidents captured on video reveal the daily reality for communities living under fear and uncertainty, and this repeated pattern of violence. And it's a cycle that's been able to continue because those responsible face little responsibility. Take Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, for example. He's a far-right minister who has been sanctioned by the UK for inciting violence against Palestinians. He's openly called for annexing 82% of the West Bank, which, like the settlements themselves, is illegal under international law. He has also been photographed next to graffiti reading "Death to Arabs." ICC arrest warrants have been prepared for Smotrich, yet no action has been formally taken against him. Instead, he has been allowed to control the civil administration of the West Bank, effectively making him governor of the territory. These waves of violence and killings in the occupied West Bank are believed to continue with impunity due to the international community's failure to intervene and uphold international law. For Palestinian communities, it is as if time has stalled. from the First Intifada to today, leaving them trapped in an endless loop of fear, displacement, and loss.